We have a special guest with us tonight in town. She's the 23-year-old director and founder of Astronomy Outreach of Kosovo. She has been on a 6-month tour of the United States, kicking off in April, where Celestron invited her to speak at NEAT 2018. She's been touring around, speaking to various astronomical societies, visiting NASA facilities. Just got to watch the launch of the Parker Space Probe at Kennedy Space Center up on top of the vehicle assembly building, which her video of that is amazing. So thankfully she was able to visit Las Vegas for her first time, other than transferring at the airport. This is her first trip to Las Vegas, hopefully the first of many. I want to welcome Pranvera Hyseni to our club. I'm going to turn off the lights.
Well, thank you very much for having me here today. It's a great honor, and it's my very first trip to Las Vegas, and I'm very happy. But for this, I would like to thank my friend Keith, who actually responded, because I knew nobody else here, and once I wrote to the Las Vegas Astronomical Society, it was Keith who responded and who actually is hosting me for a couple of days now. That sounds cool. So, as Keith told, I'm Pranvera Hyseni, 23 years old, from the Republic of Kosovo. And as you can see, I'm just another nerd like most astronomers. I like observing. Astronomy has been my passion for a long time. But actually, I studied geography, which has to do with studying planet Earth. And next year, I expect to graduate, and hopefully, I will do my PhD in planetary sciences if I'm lucky enough to do that in America. Whenever I go in America, I go to star parties or I meet people and scientists, and most of them, when they tell me how they hooked up into astronomy, they say that they either got a telescope for a birthday, or they went to a star party, or their teacher in the school showed them the skies through a telescope. It's just amazing. But imagine what would it be like being born in a place where telescopes wouldn't exist, and in a place where there are no astronomers, no scientists, and in a place where astronomy would actually be completely dead. Would you still be going on and doing astronomy, or you would hold back and just continue into something else that you don't like? Well, that's probably much my story, because I was born in the Republic of Kosovo, which is a very small country, and if you compare it to Europe, it's just a little red dot. But Kosovo was part of former Yugoslavia before, and whenever I mention Kosovo, most of you know it because of the latest war we had in the late 90s and the conflict with Serbia. And that wasn't very good, but everything happened for a reason. Because Kosovo before and Albania were a country, but politics and other things have separated these into two, getting Kosovo under Yugoslavia. And our nation, actually, I am Albanian, and before the war, it was very bad because Albanian schools, Albanian books were not allowed. So this means that the education was not possible for Albanians. And what can you do without education? That's the most powerful weapon to change the world. So people were fed up. My brother and other generations were going to schools, not actually schools, but to a place, to a house that somebody actually gathered students together to learn privately and secretly, hiding from the Serbian military. So imagine going to school like that. And that's why the war happened. People wanted freedom. People wanted to have the education back. People wanted to have the country back. And the war happened, and it kind of destroyed everything. It was very terrible. For 2 years, my family and I as well, I was 5 years old back then, we were hiding into forests. We were actually surviving somehow, trying to survive with a life. And at that moment, nobody cared about the stars. It was a moment fighting for life. So, if it wasn't for America and NATO and Europe to actually interfere and stop everything, stop the genocide and everything that was being destroyed, I would probably not be alive today. So I would like to give actually all of you a thanks for helping Kosovo, for helping my nation, for helping me to be alive today. So after the war, actually during the war, it was almost the end of it. As people were so shocked, so sad, people were missing, houses were burnt down, everything was terrible. There was still something spectacular happening in the sky back then. It was a partial solar eclipse in 1999. I was only 4 years old, 5 years old. And I remember people were kind of panicking because it was something going on in the sky, so they were really not sure what's that. And some people thought it's gonna be the end of the world, or who knows. But in fact, my grandfather took me and my family out there in the backyard. So he showed us the eclipse in a bucket filled with water. We didn't have a telescope, of course, neither solar glasses to look like we do today. But this was one of the moments that actually hooked me up into astronomy. I was only 5 years old. And since then, I've been loving the stars. I've been wondering about what's out there in the universe. And I was growing up, but you can't really get into astronomy if you don't have telescopes, as well as if you don't have books to read into astronomy, because we don't have much literature in Albanian as well. And this was one of the reasons I had to learn English and learn about astronomy in internet, into books that were given to me by people. And yeah, I was growing up. I remember actually when I was in the first grade, my teacher, who was actually my dad, he were asking us, what do you want to become in the future? Everybody was saying like, I want to be a teacher, I want to be a doctor. I was saying, I want to fly to space. I wasn't sure that it's called an astronaut. I also thought that NASA was a man that does discoveries. I wasn't sure that it's a whole group of people in an agency that does incredible work. But I always dreamed to have a telescope, just a small one probably. And it was impossible for my dad to buy me one because you don't find one in Kosovo to buy. It's not like here that you just go to Walmart and you can pick one if you want, or somewhere else. You can buy in Amazon and you can have it for 2 days. I always tried to look up with binoculars and like that, but when it was 2011, the internet was becoming more popular, and Facebook as well, and social media. So I opened a Facebook account and I was trying to get in touch with people that has the same passion, that actually have from not Kosovo, from abroad Kosovo, and astronomers and enthusiasts like me. So I met this gentleman, Dragan Radmilovic, from a neighborhood country, and after a few days we talked, he decided to give me a telescope. But who would think that a person that you never met in person, and you just talked for a few days, is going to give you that you dreamed for so long? It was unbelievable. But he meant it. He met my dad in Macedonia, and they had only 5 minutes time to switch everything and get the telescope, and I didn't sleep all night long. I was waiting for my dad to come back and bring me the telescope. I got it. It's just a 3-inch telescope. It's so easy, but I didn't even know how it works. How should I put it together? And then once I figured it out, I pointed it at the moon, and it was probably the most beautiful moment ever. I saw the moon craters, and then I saw Saturn's ring, Jupiter moons, all these great things for the first time, just 7 years ago. With this telescope, it gave me the first steps, and since then I've been just dedicated into observation. But I wasn't only using this telescope by myself. I wanted to get it also and share it with other people. So I was going to school and bringing it also to other schools for kids to make it possible. So I was, in fact, before I didn't have even a solar filter, so all we could look at the telescope, not look through the telescope, because during the day it was impossible to see something else. But then I started the high school, and that wasn't a very cool moment because I ended up being in the social program. So imagine, social program. I could be a politician, I could be a lawyer, I could be all of these bad things. But I couldn't be a scientist. I couldn't have a career in the future. But this didn't stop me. At the same time, I was going to the science fairs, having my telescope with me, and doing outreach. And one day, these teachers from the natural program was wondering, what's this girl doing with this telescope from the other fields? She's not supposed to. And of course I wasn't supposed to, but they actually decided to put me into the natural program in the last year of high school. And it was quite risky. I could have probably failed in the final exam. I just would let these people, you can sit down because there are a lot of free chairs, please. So these teachers decided to move me into the other program, and it was amazing because wow, everybody thought that I'm gonna fail in every subject. In fact, I was even more successful because that's what I liked. That's what I was studying by myself because it was my hobby. But at the same time I was doing high school, I was enjoying social media way too much. And I was meeting astronomers. I was being in touch with scientists and enthusiasts from all over the world. And these people has helped me, not just by commenting and liking my posts, but they really helped me by sending me equipments, by donating me books and planetary cameras, computers, mounts, all these things that I never had, and I would probably never have. And it was a great thing because this was a start. I was having all these assets only for 1 year. And then once I collected all of these equipments, it was like so much, and I was using them only me going out there in the public. So I was thinking, why don't I do an organization? Why don't I do a group? So maybe there are other students, enthusiasts like me, and we can get together. And so did I. In 2015, I founded this organization and I named it Astronomy Outreach of Kosovo because I was dedicated to outreach. And the reason was not that I was aiming to do outreach, but the place where I live, it's not like here. It's not like somebody would just set up a star party every weekend. In Kosovo, nobody set up a telescope for us to look through. It's something very rare. And if you do, you will have so many people coming to look through that because this never happened in our country. And this is a new thing going on, and everybody's excited about that. So 2 months later, after I founded this organization, another partial solar eclipse was going on in the sky. So I said, okay, before people panicked, so right now I've got the telescopes, I got solar glasses, many of them, so let me try to do an activity and gather people together. And in March, I decided to go out there in the main square of the capital city, and all these people showed up. It was the very first outreach event with the solar telescopes that I got. Only 3 solar telescopes, and they were small, I mean it. But all these people showed up. Why? Because nobody else did this before. Nobody showed us the sign in hydrogen alpha. It's something that it's happening for the first time, and people, maybe people here get it for granted because it's so normal for you guys to have telescopes, especially big ones. When I go to Texas Star Party or other activities, there are people who have like 25-inch telescopes, and I walk by and they say like, yeah, I've got this 25-inch, but I think I'll get a bigger one because it's like not working. And I'm like, okay. And they have no clue that the largest telescope in our country is an 8-inch Newtonian.
Wow.
So with this 8-inch, we're trying to change the perspective of science in a whole country, trying to cover every city, every school, every village, trying to offer to every student and to everybody to look through those telescopes, even though they are so small. For us, they mean a lot. After this activity, this was like a boost for our group. I was still alone though, but I was meeting students. And this was the best part because my organization started growing. I was meeting many enthusiast kids and students and teachers who decided to join and help out. And so together, even today, we do astronomy and we do outreach. We do star parties, we do astronomy camps, and what's different from most of the places I've gone is that our organization has almost 150 members, and the oldest member we have is a 33 years old teacher. All of the members are young, and I like it because we need to bring more young people into science. We need more people, and especially more women into science. These are just some more pictures that shows our activities. We always have so many students, so many public coming into our telescopes, and I always like it because I never thought that such a small group would do such a big impact. And we don't try to cover just Kosovo. We also go to Albania. We go to Macedonia. We set up our equipment, and we do everything for free. We don't charge for star parties. We don't charge for membership. We charge for nothing. We just give from ourselves and from anybody that wants to help. Well, this was actually my very first trip abroad the country. So again, on Facebook, I met this gentleman from Switzerland, Rodrigo Araya, who invited me to go to Switzerland and Italy in a 4-day trip. I never flew on a plane before. I never was out of the country before. It was 2016. And I said, okay, I will go there. And guess what? I saw a moon rock for the first time. It was the moon rock that the astronauts of the Apollo 14 brought it to Earth. And then, for the very first time, I saw how an astronaut spacesuit looks like from close. Common models. All of these spacecrafts that actually I only saw on TV and never in real time. And this was a very great experience. It made me feel a little bit more independent by going out there and traveling alone. 6 days later, I actually got another invitation to travel to Australia, to cross the ocean and go out there and do astronomy, learn, get experience. You won't believe, but it was my very first time to see an observatory, a dome, to have a planetarium show. And today I can't believe I'm actually giving a presentation in one of them. And then meet scientists like Terry Lovejoy. He's very known for his comet discoveries. And then meet people that discovered supernovas, asteroids, double stars. Imagine what it was like spending 42 days with those people and getting this experience and having to observe through their telescopes. And I mean telescopes like that and bigger. And after all, the southern skies. The stars and the objects that they see, we cannot see from the northern hemisphere. And I really felt jealous though, because they have some really cool objects. But this wasn't just a trip to have fun. This was a trip to learn. And I got experience. These people spend their time explaining me, teaching me how to do research, how to do professional observation. Even though with my telescopes I wouldn't be able to do much because they're small, but probably in the future. They gave me other setup as well. They gave me cameras that I would probably need them in the future. And this was worth it, going there all alone in a very far way. I'm only 23 years old, remember that. And it wasn't easy taking a step, going all that far away from people that I didn't know in person, from people that I only knew on Facebook. Something could have happened, but well, I assumed that my dreams were bigger than that. And then something that I really wanted so long was bringing somebody into Kosovo. I feel so bad that for my friends, because I get to travel and meet many scientists and observe through large telescopes, but they don't. And I feel bad because they don't get to travel. It's like impossible to cover the expenses for all of our members. But finally, in 2016, it was Mr. Stephen Ramsden, the global director of the Charlie Bates Solar Astronomy Project, who was our main donor for a couple of years. And he decided to come to Kosovo. He decided to visit a country that was forgotten from the world, a country that is not recognized from half of the world. And for the very first time, we had a professional astronomer coming into our country and helping us out and teaching our kids, teaching our students. We did activities together, and everybody got to be there. He was so impressed with being enthusiastic with all these young kids. He was also hosted by the government, and everybody was so impressed because he didn't also come alone. He brought a few more telescopes with him, which was cool. And he helped us a lot, and probably it was him that made our group even better, because we would never have those mounts and those telescopes from Celestron and Meade and others, because everything came through this person. So in 2017, last year, it was another great thing. This invitation became quite popular on Facebook. I like Facebook. So I was invited by Mr. Robert Treves to come to the Texas Star Party, America's largest star party. And I was invited to be the keynote speaker there. I was very honored to be invited there. I was probably the youngest person to ever be invited to speak at Texas Star Party. And I was so excited until they denied my visa. But then after a few days, my friends going crazy on Facebook and calling the embassy, I got a visa for 3 years. So I came into America. And I ended up being in America not just for 1 week at Texas Star Party that I was invited, but I ended up being for 4 months, traveling in 17 states of America. Oh boy, imagine how many things I saw for 4 months. It was probably 4 years for somebody or more to see all that. starting at Texas Star Party, they got me into McDonald Observatory. You can see that huge telescope. I was there, I didn't even know where the eyepiece was. I was all lost. It was really huge, and I couldn't believe that's a telescope. And then the other one was even bigger. It's 10 meters a meter. And then I also met Don Pettit, who's a NASA astronaut, and spent more than 6 months in the International Space Station. It was amazing to hang out with him and him letting us know how he did photography and how it was just being out there in space, seeing Earth from far away. Then I also was invited to speak at Space Fest, another great activity which actually gathers together astronauts and scientists and enthusiasts and nerds like me and everybody. And I was there 4 days, and I met incredible and brilliant astronomers like David Levy. We all know him for his discovery of Shoemaker-Levy comet that hit on Jupiter. And then Alan Hale, the Hale-Bopp comet. I don't remember that, but they said it was big. So also Seth Shostak from the SETI Institute. Imagine spending time with all these bright minds. But no, this wasn't the best part. The best part was this. Hanging with 26 NASA astronauts and moonwalkers. These people changed the world. These people made us understand that how small we are in the universe, but at the same time, what an impact we can do in the universe. They stepped on the moon, and they proved us right. And they are very inspiring. They inspired so many generations. And it's so sad that every day we are losing these people. But I assume I was very fortunate to be there and talk to them and meet them in person. And they're just like us, normal people. They laugh, they talk, they goof around. So it was an incredible moment. Some of them, like Charlie Duke, Apollo 16, and Michael Collins, and the sons of the Neil Armstrong, and getting to hear about their histories, about everything they have done in their lifetime. Then one of other things that I really liked, and it was one of the highlights here, was visiting the meteor crater. I love asteroids a lot, unless they don't impact us. So going to this place, it was incredible. Whenever I read about asteroids and meteorites, it's always this crater on the books, on the videos. So going there and seeing this thing for real, how big was this impact, and getting to learn, getting to see everything that formed there, I liked it. And also people in Kosovo, because whenever I go to those places, I like to shoot videos or tell people in Albanian as well. And that's the point. I go out there, learn, and then share it with others. This is the way how it works, and how we should do actually. And then another trip to California was at the Chabot Observatory. I'm just mentioning some of them. Rhode Island, again Rhode Island. I saw many observatories in fact. And what I liked most was that these people would just open the doors for me. And they would let me use those telescopes, most of them. Let me operate them. Teach me how to do that. Let me open the dome. Giving me a taste how it is like doing astronomy in America. Giving me to do something that I've never done in Kosovo. And I liked it. And I started dreaming, what if we have something like this in our country? Or will we ever have something in Kosovo? I was most honored being invited to speak at the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astronomy. Now is one of the best institutions of the world. And also at the Kennedy Space Center. It was my dream to go to NASA, and once I went there, I hold on a second and I kind of thought that my dream came true. And it did, in fact, because I always dreamed to visit those places and see those spacecrafts at NASA especially. You can't imagine these engineers who just put all these things together and they just lift off in space and bring it back home safely. They're huge. They're nothing like on TV and books. And it was nice to have a VIP tour though. And also Marshall Space Flight Center, US Space and Rocket Center, Yerkes Observatory, which is actually the world's largest refractor telescope, has been used by Edwin Hubble and Albert Einstein and many other scientists. But what's the point? I like that people always really gave so much consideration to me, and I appreciated that, because after all, I'm just a farm girl. I come from a village. I still live there. I was born there, and I'm young. I haven't done something great in my life still, but I like how much consideration they gave to me. And it's just so much inspiring. It just gives me more power, and it helps me to continue. Even though I'm just from a very small village, I am probably a person with very big dreams, and that's what matters. And yeah, the best part probably of my trip was having to see the total solar eclipse, which was actually a year ago from today. And I was so lucky. I was with a friend of mine who was a pilot, and we went into an airport in Tennessee. So he had a private jet, and just in case it was cloudy, we were hoping to get in the plane and go above the clouds, but it was necessary because the weather was amazing. And I saw the eclipse. I have seen 3 partial solar eclipses in my life, but when I saw this, it was unbelievable. You just can't tell how incredible those 2 minutes are. And if you saw an eclipse, if it wasn't total, don't tell anybody. It's not like that. After I went back home with a very great experience, with doing something that probably nobody from Kosovo had the opportunity. I was one of the morning I woke up and I was receiving congratulations from people. I even had no clue what's going on. And then I understood that an object in the sky, an asteroid, has been named after me. What could have been a greater honor than this? I told you earlier that I really love asteroids, and having one named after you, that means a lot. This asteroid is gonna be there forever, if it doesn't impact, of course. This asteroid, that it's out there, it's not just presenting me. It's representing Kosovo. It's representing Albanians, because it's the first Albanian name out there in the space. And it's getting us closer to the space than ever before. And next generations, our kids are gonna grow up and know about this asteroid. And they will remember that somebody that probably wasn't much important, as somebody like a very young kid, happened to be her name. So probably they will grow up having dreams and just believing that someday it could be them. This inspires a lot. Everything and everybody was so proud for this, including our government. And 2018 started really amazing, and it's still going so. I was actually chosen one of the 24 students of the world to be given this award, 24 under 24, for students who contributed into STEM and outreach as leaders for innovation. And I was very happy for 2 reasons. First, I put Kosovo in that list among other countries. And second, there are more women than males. And we need more more women into science. I really mean it. We need more women into science. And we should just go out there and inspire. Nobody can tell you what to do. If you like something, just do it. And those people who told you that you are wrong, one day are going to ask for your autograph. Trust me. So what's Astronomy Outreach of Kosovo's next big step? I told you earlier that my country doesn't have an observatory, and we don't even have an astronomy department or anything related to space exploration and astronomy and planetary sciences. So my organization and I have been thinking and talking on doing an observatory. Maybe a small one, as you can see up there, a small project. So at least to make a chance, an opportunity for our students to go out there, to observe, and for other people to come and attend presentations like this. We don't have something like this. Our meetings that we do, we don't even have a place for that. We do meetings in cafeterias and restaurants. That's not very comfy though, because we're doing science after all, and that's not the greatest place to do that. So after we have been thinking about this project for over a year now, we had meetings with government, and we told them how important this project would be, would change everything, because we never had an observatory before. Imagine what would it be like having one and opening the dome and just observing the skies. But it's government, so they don't get it. And actually, as you can see in one of our meetings, actually we also had a guest, a very special guest, aerospace engineer James Wenner, who's actually sitting right here. He was in Kosovo just a few days before I flew to America in April. But yes, I was saying, they don't get it, so they're not simply supporting it. But this doesn't stop our dream. We're still hoping to put this observatory together one way or another. It's gonna happen someday. 1 year, 2 years, 10 years. We're not gonna give up. We're gonna look for funds and support. After all, it's not a multi-millionaire project. It's only about 50,000 American dollars, and it would happen. But after everything that we couldn't put the construction and everything like that, we still missed the most important thing, the telescope. We were not thinking about that, like what telescope should we get? So this year, I was invited to come to America by Celestron. Celestron that provides telescopes. And oh my God, telescopes. So I provided a presentation at NEAF, Northeast Astronomy Forum in New York. And I mentioned about the telescope, and I mentioned about the observatory, that we want to do that. And after I talked and I told that, the CEO of Celestron, Corey Lee, he approached me and he announced that he wanted to donate a 14-inch Schmidt-Cassegrain telescope to our observatory. But only after we put the construction together. So they will come bring it and install it. Ooh, what a moment! A 14-inch telescope! Wow! I know most of you probably have telescope bigger than that, but for us, it means like Hubble Space Telescope. It just means that much. So we were so happy that at least we have the telescope. But now we have to look into the construction. And any of you that would like to have our group to put an observatory together, we appreciate your support and help. So what's the point of all this presentation? What's the point of me being here today and letting and telling you about my trips? It's not telling you that I travel and I have fun in America cities, Las Vegas Strip and all that. It's just to let people know and prove them that if you really love something, if you really have a dream, don't let it go and don't give up. Because the only person that is gonna stop you from what you love, it's yourself and your fears. Because I also started as a young kid loving and dreaming about something that wasn't even in my country. But today, I get to go to the most wonderful and greatest observatories, to get to hang with the most brilliant minds and scientists, and get support from all these people. So if I would probably stop at my age, and if I would get something else that I don't like, where would I be today? Where would astronomy be in Kosovo? Probably there would be no AOK, no astronomy, no telescopes, no nothing. So this is what only a person can change, but what a whole group can change. They can change the world. So don't let your fears ruin you. Do what you love and dare to dream. Thank you very much. If somebody has a question, feel free to ask. Thank you once again. Yes.
I noticed at your observatory you have some beautiful white stones. How were you able to get them away from Stonehenge?
I assume that's a question for the architect, probably. Yes. That was probably just for fun. The architect put that together, because even the trees, we don't need them around the observatory as well. Yes, Keith.
Do you know the timeline for the observatory? Like when you hope to have it operational by?
You mean, oh yeah, the timeline for the, well, we were hoping to put that together this year, but since we don't have the funds ready, that's impossible, I guess, and that's winter in the end of the year, which makes it hard in Kosovo, but by next year, we want to have it. And if nobody else has a question, yes, please?
When were you at the Seagraves Observatory in Rhode Island?
When?
Yeah.
I was there last year on June, and this year as well on May, I think.
That wasn't their normal convention, right? You just were visiting?
I was actually invited to speak for
Oh.
their monthly meeting.
Oh, the multi-club meeting? Okay.
Yeah, but I
Cool.
also got to observe through the Alvan Clark 8-inch telescope and some more that they had.
That, my friends I was telling you about the other day were the ones that restored that telescope in 2012.
Oh,
And they
wow.
built two more replicas, 2 3/4 scale of it.
I see. Well,
Beautiful telescope.
as I was telling that I am in America since April, I came in a 6-month tour to do another tour across America and get to observe through some more telescopes and visit some more observatories and NASA centers. Keith told you that I was very fortunate to be at NASA Kennedy Space Center to see the Parker solar probe go up. Even after the first night it got delayed, we were so scared I'm not gonna see it, but I saw it and I captured an amateur video which I would like to play it if it's fine.
Yes.
It's short, so don't worry. I'm not gonna keep you. Does it have sound? Oh my I think I was overexcited. But anyway, that was the only part that I could actually capture, because if I was tracking it with my camera, I would miss the whole scene. So I just wanted to enjoy it more than taking pictures. There were like so many photographers already covering during that part, so I was just going to enjoy it. And I'm so proud I got to see you launch for the very first time, hoping that it's not the last. But thank you very much once again, and please go ahead. You have
Yeah,
the
where
question.
can we find you on Facebook?
Oh, if you look for my name, Pranvera Hyseni, you can find me. Or if you can look for Astronomy Outreach of Kosovo on Facebook, you can also find our page and follow our activity.
Okay, great.
Well, thank you once again. It was an honor to be here.
I just wanted to say a few more things. First off, I forgot to mention our president, Jim, is not here tonight. He's traveling. He wishes he could be here with us, but on behalf of him, just want to say that the board, the club officers, and I got together and voted, and we are donating $500 to Astronomy Outreach.
Make our observatory come true.
Hopefully, get another step towards it.
Well, I also have something for their organization as well. So let me get it from my bag. Hold on a second. Okay, there we go.
Oh,
It's an AOK patch, and I would like to give it as a present from our staff to the Las Vegas Astronomical Society, and to thank them very much for being so welcoming, and also to thank you, Keith, personally for being so kind and for hosting me.
well, thank you very much. Awesome. I wish we had some stickers left of the Las Vegas Astronomical. We're actually working on that. We're running low on those. So thanks so much for coming. We really appreciate that you're able to visit Las Vegas and say something to our community.
So that's really
Best of luck.